The telescope is the last one. James sees it from 3 aisles away, the Galileo kit, the box face printed with a spiral galaxy, its price tag hanging like a small white flag. He's been to 2 other Wonder World locations today. Both sold out. His feet hurt. His back hurts. He smells like a warehouse. He walks toward it anyway. The day had started at 4:47 a.m. in a distribution center in Dayton, Ohio. Not because James had to be there. He has people for that. He has an entire org chart of people for that. 17 direct reports, a COO, a head of logistics, a woman named Priya who manages more moving parts before lunch than most executives touch in a quarter. James didn't have to be in Dayton. He chose to be. He goes undercover in his own company twice a year. It's not a management tactic or a PR stunt. It's the only way he knows to stay honest. Reports are written by people who want to keep their jobs. Spreadsheets don't lie, but they don't tell the whole truth either. The truth is in the gaps. In the way a warehouse worker rolls his eyes when a supervisor turns his back. In the software that crashes every 3rd scan but nobody's bothered to escalate because escalating feels like a risk. James found the flaw in the inventory system by noon. He'd helped write that system 11 years ago, back when Apex Innovations was 3 people and a shared Google Drive. He fixed it. He ate lunch from a vending machine. He drove 3 hours in a rental car and didn't think once about the fact that he owns the company that owns the rental company. He thought about Lily. She is 8 years old tomorrow. She is the kind of child who asks why the sky is dark between the stars. James had told her it was a real question, that scientists had a name for it, Olber's paradox. And she had looked at him with her mother's eyes and said, "So nobody knows why the universe is the way it is?" He'd said, "That's the whole point, Starlight. Figuring it out is the adventure." She'd written it down in a notebook she keeps beside her bed. He had promised her a telescope. He should have ordered it online. He should have sent his assistant. But this felt like the kind of thing a father was supposed to do in person. Walk into a store, pick up the box, feel the weight of it. Prove to himself that he still knows how to do something simple. He is still wearing his warehouse clothes. Faded jeans, steel-toed boots, a gray shirt with a small bleach stain near the collar. His hands have a faint trace of machine oil that wouldn't fully wash off in the distribution center bathroom. He doesn't think about any of this when he walks into Wonder World Toys. Why would he? "Sir." The voice is practiced. Not rude, not yet, but with a particular tone that James has heard his entire adult life. A tone that frames itself as helpful while delivering something else entirely. He turns. The associate's name tag says Melissa. She is looking at him the way people look at a sentence that doesn't parse, scanning, rescanning, searching for an explanation. "The clearance section is on the far wall," she says. "Some really great deals back there." James follows her gaze to his cart, where the Galileo kit sits, its galaxy box face up. "I'm good, thanks," he says. "That particular item," Melissa says. And here she pauses, recalibrating, shifting from helpful to something more clinical. "Runs for $100, just so you're aware." "I know." She doesn't move. She is waiting for something. Confusion, perhaps, or a quiet retreat. When neither comes, she produces a smile with no warmth behind it. "Of course. Just let me know if you need anything." She walks away. James watches her go, then watches her stop at the end of the aisle and take out her phone. He doesn't feel rage. He's had 38 years to make peace with the fact that some people will always see his clothes before they see him, and the clothes before the man. What he feels is a specific kind of tired, the tiredness of a thing that has happened before and will happen again and does not get easier with repetition. He picks up the box. He starts toward the register. The manager finds him before he reaches the checkout. His name tag says Stephen. He has the walk of a man who has decided, in the absence of genuine authority, to perform it. He doesn't approach James directly. He begins straightening a nearby display, methodically, theatrically, while keeping James in his peripheral vision. "Finding everything okay?" he asks without looking up. "Yes." Stephen's eyes drop to the cart. Something shifts in his face. Too quick to name, but James has named it before. "Big purchase," Stephen says. "Not a question. It's a birthday present." "We have a layaway program," Stephen says. He says it pleasantly, as if this is genuinely useful information, as if he hasn't just made a dozen assumptions in a single breath. For larger items, a lot of customers find it helpful. James looks at him. I won't need layaway. A pause. Then a girl in a Wonderworld vest comes around the corner, her arms full of restocking boxes, and she sees the cart and her whole face changes. Oh, the Galileo kit. She sets down her boxes like they've become irrelevant. Is this for a kid who's into space? My daughter, James says. She's 8. 8 is the perfect age, the girl says. Her name tag says Maria. She says it with the conviction of someone who has an opinion and isn't performing one. My cousin got one when she was 9, and she's been obsessed ever since. Did you know there's an accessory pack? The moon filter is incredible. She'll be able to see the Maria. Stephen's voice is a door closing. Weren't you supposed to be in aisle 9? Maria stops. A small, recognizable deflation passes through her. Yes, sir. She looks at James quickly. A look that contains an apology and something else, a kind of solidarity, and disappears around the corner. Stephen watches her go and then turns back to James with the smile of someone who has just solved a minor problem. Sorry about that. The new ones. He shrugs. Enthusiastic. James looks at the space Maria just vacated. He picks up his cart. He walks to the register. The checkout line is short. James lifts the box onto the belt. The cashier scans it. Stephen has materialized 3 feet behind the register, arms crossed, in the way of someone who believes his presence is a deterrent. $427.93, the cashier says. James opens his wallet. He keeps it simple, leather, worn at the corners, no logo. The card inside is matte black with a small embossed mark at the lower left. The Apex Innovations wordmark. It is not a card you can apply for. It is a card that gets sent to you. He places it on the counter. Stephen's arm appears. His hand lands on the cashier's wrist. Not hard, but present, a physical interruption. Before she can pick it up. Hold on, Stephen says. He looks at the card. Then he looks at James. Corporate card? Yes. We've had some fraud issues with these, Stephen says. His voice has taken on a new quality, slower, more deliberate. He is enjoying this or something adjacent to enjoying it. I'm going to need to see ID. James watches 3 other transactions happen around him without any request for ID. He knows Stephen knows he's watching. He produces his license. Stephen picks it up, looks at it longer than necessary, reads the name. James Baldwin. He says it with a faint upward inflection, as if it's a question. And you're with Apex Innovations? Yes. What do you do there? In 38 years, James has developed many responses to moments like this. Some of them are dignified. Some of them are tired. Some of them are calibrated. Today, after Dayton, after the vending machine lunch, after 3 hours in a rental car and 2 other toy stores and a daughter at home counting down the hours, he reaches for something different. He reaches for his phone, dials, puts it on speaker. The store goes oddly quiet. Cynthia. His voice is even. It's James. I need you to pull up store 213. The voice that answers is crisp, alert, slightly confused. Mr. Baldwin? I thought you were still in Dayton. I wrapped early. He doesn't look at Stephen. He doesn't need to. I'm at the Westville location. There's a manager here. Stephen, I didn't catch your last name. A sound comes out of Stephen's mouth. It is not quite a word. And a sales associate named Melissa. James pauses. Can you tell me what our zero-tolerance policy says? Specifically the part about customer treatment. Cynthia reads it. She reads it in the tone of someone who has just understood the shape of the room she's in. Stephen's hand, still resting on the cashier's wrist, goes very still. What happens next is efficient. Stephen produces his name, Miller, in a voice that has become very small. Melissa appears from somewhere and says hers. Peters, without being asked, as if she already knows this is the moment to get on record. James authorizes their suspension pending HR review. Cynthia confirms. Stephen surrenders his keys to the counter without making eye contact with anyone. As they leave, James watches them go. He notices because he notices most things that Melissa cries. Not performance crying. Something more private than that. Something that leaks out and embarrasses her. He notices Stephen doesn't. Stephen walks out the way he walked in, with the same posture, the same set of his shoulders, as if the last 20 minutes have failed to land. James doesn't know which of those things worries him more. He finds Maria in aisle 9, methodically facing shelves. She looks up when she hears him, and something in her expression suggests she already knows. Stores are efficient that way, news moves faster than people, but she doesn't say anything. She waits. "Maria," James says, "how long have you been here?" 7 months. "Has this been your experience before? What happened today?" She is quiet for a moment. Long enough that he knows she's deciding how honest to be, which means the answer is yes. "Sometimes," she says carefully. "Stephen has a way of deciding who the customers are before they get through the door. Have you ever reported it?" She looks at him, and in that look there is an entire education about what it costs to report something when you've been working somewhere 7 months and you need the income and you're not sure anyone will believe you over a manager who's been there for 4 years. "No," she says. James nods slowly. "HR will want to talk to you tomorrow. Tell them what you just told me. Tell them everything. You won't lose your job for telling the truth. I'll make sure of that, and I'd like it in writing for you tonight if that would help." Maria looks at him for a long moment. "Why are you telling me that?" "Because you shouldn't have to guess," he says. "You should be able to do your job without guessing." He pauses. "We also have a management development program. If you want the information, I'll have someone send it to you. No obligación. It's just, you're good at this, and you deserve the option." She thanks him. He can tell she means it and isn't sure she believes it yet, which is fair. Belief takes time. He hopes she'll give it the time. At the register, he pays for the telescope. The cashier's hands are steady. He is grateful for that. The evening is cool. James loads the box into the back of the rental car and sits for a moment in the driver's seat. Not driving. He thinks about Stephen's walk out the door. The posture that didn't change. He thinks about Melissa's tears and whether they were for him or for herself, and suspects, fairly, that they were mostly for herself and whether that matters, and decides that it does and also doesn't, and that holding both of those things is part of what it means to get older. He thinks about what he would have done if he weren't the CEO. If he were just James, who'd gotten off a shift and driven to a toy store. No card. No phone call. No Cynthia on speaker. He thinks about the version of today where he walks out empty-handed and his daughter texts him and he has to say they were sold out because it's easier than the truth. He thinks about how many times that version has happened. Not to him, today specifically, but generally everywhere, every day, to people without the card. This is the thing that doesn't resolve. He got justice today because he had the leverage to obtain it. That's not the same as justice working. That's just leverage wearing justice's clothes. His phone buzzes. "Daddy, are you almost home?" "I can't sleep." He smiles. Lily hasn't learned to hide her enthusiasm yet, and he hopes she never does. "On my way, Starlight. I have something for you." "What is it?" "Something to help you see what's out there." "The telescope?" He doesn't answer. He starts the car. The box takes up most of the back seat, the galaxy on its cover catching the parking lot light. He thinks about his daughter sitting in a notebook dark bedroom, drawing stars she hasn't seen yet, asking questions she hasn't found words for. He thinks about the night he wants her to have, the first time she puts her eye to the lens and the blur resolves into something real, into craters and shadow and ancient frozen light. He thinks, "I want her to see it clearly. I want her to see everything clearly." He pulls onto the highway. Above him, beyond the light pollution, the real stars are doing what they always do, burning at extraordinary distance, indifferent and permanent and completely, unutterably beautiful. She's going to find them. He's going to help. If the story moved you, hit that like button. It helps more people find stories like this one. Subscribe so you never miss the next one, and drop a comment below. Have you ever been underestimated by the way you looked? Let's talk about it.